Hi everyone,
Today we're going to analyze Candomble.
and its impact in Afro-Latin religious syncretism.
In direct translation, Candomble means to dance in honor of the gods. It is a religion full of stories passed down through oral tradition that encourages believers to fulfill their own destinies. This question is left open-ended for anyone to interpret how they please. In Candomble, there is one major god, Oludumare, who is supported by other less powerful gods. In addition, each person has their own protector deity. There is no defined moral central concept of good or evil, but rather a strong sense of ancestry and individual destiny. In order to participate in Candomble, one must pass through initiation ceremonies where a new individual becomes irreversibly bound to an orisha. They must partake in complex rituals such as animal offerings and daily trips to the temple.
A typical Candomble ceremony revolves around dance. In ritual, worshippers summon orishas, or deities, and allow it to possess them. Practitioners throw vibrant ceremonies in every house of the cult that take the form of open parties. Instead of preaching or counseling, the divinities express their faith by possessing practitioners throughout steady pulsations of drums and chanting. Much tradition is embedded into these proceedings. They conclude with a meal where everyone consumes the sacred foods. Each day of the week celebrates a different orisha. This determines what color clothes practitioners wear, what foods they eat, and whether they should remain abstinent that day. Every year, a different orisha reigns, and that serves as an omen for how the year is going to play out.
Candomble is a unifying experience. Women decorate themselves with white dresses adorned with crinolines, colorful belts, and headdresses, while the men put on formal, lace, pajama-style suits. They celebrate Candomble through lively action, singing and dancing around in circles for hours on end. As the surroundings grow warmer with energy, the chanting increases in intensity.
Candomble traditions began from enslaved West Africans, specifically from the cults Orisha and Vodun. Candomble also draws upon the beliefs of many African ethnic groups, especially those traced back to the Yoruba, Fon, and Bantu peoples, which were carried onwards to Brazil. Candomble's fusion with Brazil created a syncretism of Latin and African cultures. Nearly 2/3 of the Brazilian population are self-declared Catholics. Practitioners of Candomble claim to be Catholic to avoid associating themselves with African roots. They hid their authentic practices behind Catholic ones because it was their only defense mechanism to protect themselves from governmental persecution. Practitioners wished to remain tucked away among waves of violence and religious intolerance.
Candomble is not very rigid in the sense that both men and women can become priests. Homosexuality is not frowned down upon, and sexual relations between followers is only scrutinized if it occurs within the walls of the Candomble house or center. Candomble is also matriarchal, as women take on a radically integral role in the practice of Candomble, no longer kept quiet behind the scenes.
Continuous slave trade to Brazil began in 1560 and ended in 1850 after nearly 300 years. Approximately 5,360,608 individuals boarded and 4,715,245 individuals disembarked, with the 87.961% survival rate. Now, Brazil has the second largest black population in the world, falling behind only Nigeria. Although more than half of the Brazilian population define themselves as black or mixed race, this majority of the population has little social, economic, political, or religious power.
Pai, or Father Nelson, a priest of the house of worship, said, "Candomble was once very hidden, very isolated. Candomble wasn't accepted here. People always had a preconception about it because it was African. Black people aren't accepted in society here. We do animal sacrifice. Our religion is very different than any other. People didn't understand it," end quote. Many Europeans misinterpreted Candomble and considered it a primitive religion, deeming it not as sophisticated or developed as Orthodox Catholicism. These comments created a feeling of exclusion, otherness among practitioners of Candomble and Catholics around the world.
Candomble is now increasing in popularity. Now that Brazil's government has become less stringent, people recognize Candomble as their cultural inspiration in both literature and songs. Since the 1970s, the younger Afro-Brazilian culture has re-embraced Candomblé through large events such as the Bahian Carnival. This action has sparked some controversy, as critics have accused this commercialization as whitewashing. Candomblé has slowly left its syncretism with Catholicism, as the initial merging was out of necessity. The result of the initial syncretism with Catholicism is two distinct realities, an African Candomblé reality and a Brazilian Catholic reality. The conference in 1983 in Salvador terminated Candomblé syncretism with Catholicism, allowing Candomblé to officially become its own separate religion. Diverging Candomblé from Catholicism is an act of reclamation and a way for the next generations of Afro-Brazilians to find their identities rooted in tradition. Ultimately, Candomblé is a prime example of a religion that began out of oppression but is now thriving, even centuries after the abolition of slavery.